I've at least started streaming. I've at least started recording. Whether or not that is good is that remains to be seen. Well, and so we'll figure this out. But I would like everyone to give a warm, because it is very cold, welcome to Kennedy from the Not Safe for Wonks network of wonks. And if you are a wonk, I am afraid that you should leave the stream, as now you are in dangerous territory here. So
True.
What is your at again? I'm so sorry.
At Kennedy T. Cooper.
T. Cooper. Is that your middle name?
There's a T, yeah.
There's a T. Okay.
In the middle.
Is that like, okay, all right. All right, so.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so everyone, welcome. This is Kennedy from the Not Safe for Wonks group of individuals that wonk. And so we were originally going to be talking about Jimmy Dore and Force the Vote. I think we set this up like last week or whatever, this conversation. And needless to say, a lot has happened over the course of the last week. So yeah, what do you think about Jimmy Dore? Start off.
Jimmy Dore is just an asshole.
Not good. Definitely not good.
I don't want to just launch into straight diatribe, but it's hard not to, because I'm just so tired of this piece of shit getting so much attention, and just getting to do whatever he wants all the time and getting treated like that's just okay. Like, he's just allowed to just behave in a way that other people would absolutely never get away with. You know, that's just like the privilege of being a rich straight white guy, right?
Literally. Yeah, literally. Like, and again, if you even point out that he's like a rich straight white guy and all of his targets are poor, like, young brown women, if you even point that out, it's identity politics. Are you an SJW? Are you a woke Dem? Oh, the woke politics. Oh, the Democrats are woke. Like, what? And again, I did this segment earlier of how there's like this huge cross section of like these people, and I don't want to put you in, you know, if I shout someone out in a negative light that you know and you want to comment, that's fine with me. But I'm making a lot of enemies right now. All of these people connected to Jimmy Dore, the Gray Zone. I've had a lot of like mysterious interactions with those individuals. And a lot of these like weirdo left Twitter accounts that did not exist last year, but now all of a sudden have like 10,000 followers, right? Like I want to go into this because this is something that I think I've been covering the Force the Vote scam and grift and conspiracy theory for. I like calling it a conspiracy theory because it's an unprovable thing, and it's kind of like if we force the vote, then something happens, and they never tell you what the something is. It's kind of like you just have to have faith. When the vote is forced, then we win.
The healthcare is coming.
Yeah, right.
It's coming.
So like I've been covering this a lot over the last month, mostly because it gives me a lot of viewers, and I love that shit. And second of all, because I think it's problematic that there's these people that are trying to occupy the space that I'm in, right? And I lost like hundreds of subs when I started going after Jimmy. All these people are like, I thought you were cool. Now, I know that I was watching your stream for 7 months as you were going after politicians and saying that we need to abolish police. But now, all of a sudden, you're a corporate sellout. And it's like, imagine imagine literally watching my stream of all people and thinking I'm a corporate sellout. Like, it's bizarre.
Someone literally called me a scab. Which, like, first of all, you're just misusing a word that has a meaning. Like, at a certain, like, even if you disagree with me and you want to use some kind of harsh term, that's not the one because it doesn't apply. Like,
they just think any word that they hear other people use, sounds good, I'll throw it in. I hear left-wing people say scab, therefore I know everything. Like, that's
and then some of those same people who are like, you're a scab if you don't 100%. And for the record, I wasn't even 100% against Force the Vote. I even called a couple of my reps. Like, y'all can fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, same here. Like, I am not against the idea whatsoever. I'm against the energy behind the idea, and that you have. And I was like, I would rather force the vote on housing guarantee. That was my response to these people, and they say Medicare is more important than housing. First of all, 40 million people can't pay rent, and Medicare is more important than housing. Like, if you're going to be homeless, chances are you're not going to be in a good. What's being homeless and having healthcare access? What is that? What? hey doc, I'm homeless and I just caught a COVID because I'm homeless, and now I've got free healthcare, so treat me. Why not just prevent them from being homeless? But these people all have houses, so they don't care about housing rights because they've got houses, right? I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm getting into it.
No, I know. You know, the funny thing, okay, so one person in particular came after me about, because I pointed out that Jimmy Dore's really well off and there's nothing at stake for him here. And one person came after me, this is just like when people attack Bernie Sanders about his money. No, it's not. First of all, when people attack Bernie Sanders about his money, it was to specifically discredit the idea that he could be a socialist and have any amount of money. Okay, that's a different argument than the argument that I'm making. I'm not saying that Jimmy Dore can't be a rich leftist. I'm saying that if you're going to accuse me of speaking from a place of privilege about this issue, that you should think about who the fuck you're defending, a rich, straight, white man.
It is also, again, how did these people get their money? They're making this dumb fuck comparison. How did Bernie get his money? He wrote a book on how the world can be a better place. That's how he got his money. How did Jimmy Dore get his money? By making videos about how AOC is a corporate sellout scumbag. There's a difference, right? If someone is being paid to write a book on the world being a better place, they're probably they're going to have a more, like, you know, with the way money works, they're going to have more of an incentive to make the world a better place, or at least to write more books on why the world should be a better place, which could inspire other people to want to make the world a better place. Now let's follow Jimmy Dore's money. Jimmy Dore is getting thousands of dollars. When the Force the Vote town hall happened, he restreamed it, right? The People's Party, it's the People's Party event. They only had 1,000 views. Jimmy Dore's version of the stream, which is just him screen recording, had 15,000. And he was monetizing, getting thousands. Literally, he got $5,000 at least of super chats. I didn't do all the math, right? During a stream where he was monetizing people crying about their dead relatives, right? And then right afterward, he was like, and it's all AOC's fault. Right? That's where his money is coming from. He's getting paid to attack AOC. Now again, and I want to be explicit, I am getting paid to attack Jimmy Dore. But guess what? You want to know what the difference is? I'm telling you that. You know that I'm getting paid to attack Jimmy Dore because I'm telling you. Jimmy Dore's not telling anyone that he's getting paid to attack AOC.
No, and he pretends like there's nothing in it for him.
Yeah, and this is my thing. Is like, I guarantee you this dumb motherfucker clicked stop stream on YouTube and then sees like the total stats and is like, wow, I'm a really good streamer. I did a really good job today. Look at me. I'm really funny. They love my comedy. I guarantee you that's what this guy thinks. It's like, oh, they 100%. Must have really loved my comedy today.
So listen, not everybody that was involved with Force the Vote, in my opinion, is a piece of shit. Especially not, like, small people.
No, absolutely.
Like, a lot of small people got involved because you believe in healthcare, and that's fine.
Absolutely.
And there were some bigger names that got involved.
Like, very explicit, and then I think it's the top-down thing that I was disliked. And the abuse of all these people who genuinely want healthcare. So I just want to be very explicit there. So go on.
And I want to be clear that, like, I'm not trying to say that every single Force the Vote organizer is sus, and that we can't trust any of them. I think there were a few of them in particular that seemed to have reasonable arguments for this stuff. I thought, you know, Brianna Joy Gray had a relatively reasonable point about why we should do this and where it would go compared to a lot of the others, as like just like a for instance. And so, like, I could see how someone would see that and maybe be convinced. I'm not so sure how someone could watch Jimmy Dore and be convinced of anything in particular other than that he's an idiot. But
he's angry. Why aren't you angry?
So I want to be clear about this because I'm about to make a very spicy accusation, though.
Oh shit!
So that's why I'm framing this so carefully, because I definitely want to be clear that this is not all the Force the Vote people or all the Force the Vote organizers.
Well, but when I click this, I'm going to make sure that I get rid of the preamble and I'm going to take you out of context. So just
Perfect.
So you know.
I love that for me. It's definitely interesting to note that a lot of these people who were Force the Vote weirdos, who were like weird about it, also were against alphabet unionizing, also were weirdly praising of the actions at Congress yesterday by MAGA heads. So where do y'all stand? Because those are all reactionary viewpoints.
Yeah, these are all people. And again, most people are reactionary. Most people are emotional.
Yes.
That's the default state. But when you've got a Twitter account, right, that has 13,000 followers on it, and you are no different than your average person when it comes to the commentary that you espouse, I think that that's a problem. I think that you and this ethereal person, have a right, given the platform and your size, you have a right to know what the fuck you're talking about. That's a right, like, in my estimation. I'm gonna turn this off real quick and move Discord. All right, keep going. Yes. All right, we're back. I'm so sorry. I had to move a window around. Mudjo's sending me scoops. What do we got? The Trump campaign lawyer who said there was a non-zero number of Republicans observing Philly vote count asked to withdraw. Well, cold feet, huh? I didn't know that they would do this. And that's the bullshit thing. It's like, I really... Like, when Tom Cotton's going on there and saying, like, oh, this is a bad idea. It's like... where did this come from? It's like, oh, I wonder where this came from.
No, I wonder.
And then I also want to say, and we can have a healthy disagreement on this. I don't exactly know your position, but when I was doing a lot of my research into a lot of these people over the last month, when the Force the Vote grift started, I noticed that most, if not all of these people that are involved in this are people that would say, Joe Biden is just as bad as Donald Trump. This is a very similar reactionary viewpoint of people that would say Trump might be the lesser evil, or, you know, if you vote for Biden, you're a corporate sellout. Do you remember that kind of thing? Mm-hmm. Like, isn't it weird that those same people then go to force the vote, and then those same people are going to, oh, maybe the Republicans storming Congress was a good thing, actually. And then I had someone this morning say that, oh, you're against police brutality? Even it, like, but, like, because I made a tweet about how the Trumper died, and I thought it was funny, because they literally died. Like, they were bleeding out. Their last moment on this earth was their blood getting drenched on a Trump cape. Like, imagine that, right? Like, it's funny. Like, it's funny. And I'm sorry, if you can't find the humor in that, that's fine.
Poetry. There's poetry in that moment.
And then I got some dumb motherfucker who's like, well, if you're in favor of that, then you must be in favor of Breonna Taylor being killed. And it's like... Like these are the same people, isn't it? Like these have to be like now I want to tell you this, because you love money, you are addicted to money as much as we are. So if someone were to come to you in private and say, hey, I'm willing to fund you and give you $35,000 a month on your Patreon, for example, would you be willing to listen to me and, you know, have conversations with me and you know, maybe say the things that I'm saying on your show? Like, if someone were to come at me and say, hey, $35,000, here's some talking points, I'd be tempted, right?
I'd certainly look at the list of talking points.
Absolutely.
Right?
And if you already have this, like, oh, well, force the vote's not a bad idea, you know.
I would just throw it out or anything. No, I would look at the list of talking points to see if I felt it was agreeable.
And my thing is, and I've been, you know, I've been really pontificating on this, so if I sound too pompous, you know, you gotta check me here. But I think that this is a concrete strategy by certain people to deorganize what Bernie 2020 almost became, because Bernie almost won. You think they're just going to, okay, Biden's the president or the nominee now, let's pretend that never happened. No, they are going to stop Bernie 2024 or whatever equivalent. They want to stop it in its tracks. And what better way to do that would be to fund, like, the communications manager and the press secretary of the Bernie campaign to, I'm just throwing this out there, right? And if Brianna wants to come on my show and disperse these lies, that's fine. But to fund them and Jimmy Dore and the Gray Zone and all these other weirdo pseudo-left outlets to start saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't vote for Biden. And then that's going to be a divisive moment. And then some of these people are like, maybe there was some election fraud. Like that Convo Couch dumbass is like, maybe there's some election fraud. Maybe. And then like Brianna Joy Gray is doing these events with Nico House, who's working with Jack Posobiec. Like, you are not going to convince me that there's no money here. Like seriously,
Nico's an intelligence agent.
Absolutely. And if they're not, then they should knock on CIA's door and ask for a paycheck.
He's literally a former intelligence agent. Do y'all know what a former intelligence agent is? There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Okay, y'all. If you don't understand that, then you don't know much about how these things work. I'm sorry. You just don't. You need to look into it, because they do not let these people go. Yeah, sure, they might take you off like full-time salary, right? But
you've got that one last mission. You go out there and you fuck shit up in the left media space. That's the last mission. And we'll let you keep all the Patreon dollars and stuff, right? Like,
if you're ever hurting for money, you know who to call, and you know that they will just write a check on the spot, $100,000, and they'll send it to you. And we were talking about would we take money earlier. One thing I will say is anybody that I take money from and Not Safe for Wonks has done this for our only partnership that we have, which is with an ethical video games company. Then whenever we take money, we just tell you that that's what we're doing. Okay? And if I ever take money from anybody, I will tell you that that's what I'm doing. Okay? But these people are not going to do that. We don't know. We don't know where all their money comes from. They don't say. They don't have to, and they won't. They will never. In a lot of these
I want to just give you this, and like let's say you've got $5 million earmarked for making sure there's no such thing as Bernie 2024. You got $5 million, right? You set aside. How do I make sure that there's no left-wing presidential campaign ever again, right? Is it really, and you're a YouTuber and all that, you're a podcaster, you've been in this space, right? I've been in this space. Is it really that far-fetched for you to imagine someone funding a bunch of YouTube accounts to give like $50 super chats to Jimmy Dore to say, like, AOC is a scumbag, and then Jimmy Dore is going to see that, oh, $50 to say AOC is a scumbag, and then that's going to make him say AOC is a scumbag, and then that's going to make more people say AOC, like, do you not realize how easy it is to launder money via podcasting?
Yes.
Like, again, also, why does Bad Faith have $35,000 a month? Like, I don't know. That's a little sus to me. I'm sorry. It's a little sus.
Also, let's be real. It's not like these people that we're talking about don't know how these platforms work. The Army recruitment has their own fucking Twitch channel. Like, they know how this shit works. They're not ignorant to being able to fucking get online and launder money through Twitch or whatever. If it's even that subtle, because again, we don't know where all of Jimmy Dore's money comes from. If he did a financial disclosure, there might just be $10,000 a month coming from fucking the CIA or whatever, and we would never know because he doesn't have to disclose that stuff. He's not a politician.
I can't wait for Jimmy Dore's 2024 People's Party run, and then he's gonna go Trump and say, my tax returns, we're working on them. We're working on them. There's a lot of corporate sellouts that want to see my tax returns. Don't worry, we're working on them. I can't wait for the 2024 Jimmy Dore run. It's going to be great. You know that's what's happening, right? Like, you got to know that. It's going to be so good. Oh, my God. You bet your sweet asshole I'm going to make, like, so many Jimmy Dore videos when he's running for president. It's going to be great.
I just want to say the whole movement for a People's Party thing in general feels weird to me.
It's an op.
It feels weird to me.
It's an op. Like, oh, my God, it's so bad.
Now, I wouldn't say it's 100% an op because I have spoken to some, like, lower-level MPP organizers that I can promise you are sincere.
No, that's the thing. It's top-down. It's top-down.
Yeah, it's top-down again. I just want to be clear about that because, like, there are some people involved with that are real political organizers who know what they're doing and are trying to do something real. The problem is their efforts are not going to go anywhere with these people at the top who are going to just recreate the Green Party again, essentially.
Yeah, look at the Green Party. Like, you had everyone coalesce around Howie Hawkins and then just deny Dario Hunter ballot access in certain states. Like, I didn't follow either of them that much. You know, I didn't really know what their debates were about. But just the sheer fact that Dario wasn't allowed on certain ballots, that's enough for me to say, fuck the Green Party. Right?
And the thing is that's entirely orchestrated by the fact that there is an in-group of, like, corrupt power holders that control the Green Party. Do you not see that same dynamic trying to play out now with MPP?
Literally.
Of course you should. Anybody who's looking at this should realize there's already a problem. There's already a lack of accountability. And, like, I am not a Ryan Knight hater by any means, but I just want to say that, like, him being elected as the whatever chair something spokesperson, I can't remember what position.
That doesn't mean anything.
When was that election and where was
that election? Was right after the town hall, and by town hall I mean podcast. It's so dumb. Oh, like, remember when Jimmy Dore's like, they didn't show up at my town hall? What town hall? It was a podcast. Like, a politician didn't come on my show is what he's saying, but he's like saying, oh, it's a town hall, it's from a serious political party. It's like, no, it's not. It's not.
Like, when you make a point of making sure only your political insider groups are going to be at voting and that you just keep electing, like, the like celebrity figures that, like, headed the thing since the beginning, like, that's just the beginnings of a nepotistic cycle. I'm sorry. And I assure you that not everybody involved with it realizes that this is what they're doing. I'm sure a lot of them, again, have like good faith reasons for wanting to do what they're doing, but they are unfortunately being probably manipulated by people who don't. Because the whole MPP thing is going to be a disaster the way it is currently being positioned. There is no coherent plan that is going to like really make a significant difference in our politics. It is literally just Green Party again. Now
it's the Green Party, but you're restarting all the work that was already done 20 years ago. So it's the Green Party, but somehow, and this is unfathomable to me, but somehow it's worse. Like this.
We also, on our show, we've spoken to NPP organizers, National Progressive Party, which is another group thinking about like how to create like a viable third party. They have a freaking 40-year plan that involves setting up campaign offices all over the country that would allow people to run without having to set up their own infrastructure and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's a completely different, it's night and day. You know?
They're actually trying to do something.
Now, is either one going to work? Not necessarily. But at least when I talked to National Progressive Party people, I knew that, like, they had a realistic idea about what could be accomplished and how, even if, like, they knew that they were fighting a very difficult uphill battle. The NPP, it's just the same fantasy as the Green Party, and the Green Party got less votes than Kanye West. Kanye West
did a meme tour, right? And for like a couple months, and then like no one took him seriously, and he got more votes than a party that's been trying to act super serious for the last 20, 30 years.
And I just want to be clear, Howie Hawkins was like the Barack Obama of the Green Party. In terms of like, he's like the best candidate they could have had on a lot of levels. In terms of like activating their base and blah, 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 like whatever. Like Howie should have been the candidate to activate the Green base more than like anyone they've put up in a long time. Not necessarily more than anyone else who ran, because the primary was a whole thing. But more than any candidate the Green Party has put up basically hardly ever. Howie should have been an activating and mobilizing personality for their party that did okay numbers. Like, the fact that they were not able to get numbers for Howie Hawkins just means that their party is fucked. Like,
it's a dumb party. It's dumb. It's just dumb. And I know you're trying to sugarcoat. You're trying to do that whole, like, look at me, I'm a podcaster. I'm going to, like, say big words. Nah, it's just dumb. That's what I'm going to say. It's just dumb. I'm sorry. The Green Party, I asked some Green Party people to come on my show, and they wouldn't, so now I hate them.
That's fair. Yeah, I just, like I say, if they could not pull off better than Kanye West, there's just nothing to it. There's no substance to it. And the movement for People's Party looks like the same or worse right now.
Way worse.
just ridiculous. And here's the thing. Here's what makes it most weird to me. And again, I don't necessarily think everybody involved is an op, but if there were people involved that were doing this as an op, this would definitely be their reasoning.
Exactly.
Is that we almost got the Democratic Party to concede power to the progressive movement. They almost had to concede power. And the only reason that they were able to not do that is by literally using every dirty trick they could think of.
Like, literally, they dusted off the cheat codes of the action replay and they plugged that fucker in. That's the thing, is like, and again, you think they're all just gonna pretend, oh, there's a pandemic and everyone just forgot that Bernie almost won the nomination. You know, again, these are billionaires. You think Michael Bloomberg isn't gonna spend a couple $1 million just causing some shit in YouTube media? Like, what? You think Michael Bloomberg isn't going to just drop even $1 billion, like, even that, could you imagine what damage you could do? But even $1 million, like, $1 million divided among, like, fucking 10 YouTube mainstream, like, you know, the mainstream of the progressive left YouTube. I don't know. They've got this weird, like, I call them mainstream, but they're technically, you know, but they're their version of it. And they don't realize that they are their version of mainstream, and it's kind of like creates this awful, like, weirdo feedback loop. But, just funneling them to all hate each other on Twitter is the easiest way to do it. And again, you get the Bernie press secretary involved. Everyone, she was the most public figure of the Bernie campaign, right? And I loved Brianna Joy Gray up until this whole force the vote thing. I'm very skeptical at this point. Now, again, she can theoretically get back in my good graces for whatever that's worth. But, like, just the whole enabling of Jimmy Dore's rampage. And then again, when push came to shove and fascists invaded the Capitol, all these motherfuckers were saying, oh, isn't this great? The left should do this. Like, what? The left should do that? That's going to get people killed.
Do this.
That they will get them killed. If you say the left is going to storm the Capitol, you are killing your followers. That's what that is. That's what that is.
Listen, BLM came out with 10 times the numbers to the Capitol earlier this year. And do you know what the Capitol steps looked like? It looked like a war zone. They had National Guard troops in full body armor lining. No one even got onto the steps. No one even got on to the steps during the BLM protests, okay? Because they had a fucking, like, just a phalanx of just chuds in fucking Kevlar just standing there going...
Like, I'm literally, like, they gotta be clones or something, because where were they? Were they, like, still in the cryo chamber or something? Like, where were they yesterday? They were just gone. They were gone.
Well, no, where were they yesterday? Hey, nobody asked where's Miley when Hannah Montana's on stage.
Exactly! They all called in sick that day. I wonder why. But that's
some
the
of them
thing.
were there for sure, guaranteed. Just
like they probably
clothes.
Just went into the bathroom, took the uniform off, and came back out. And like, you know, but like
they were posing. Listen, law enforcement was posing with protesters and taking photo ops. They opened the barricades so that they could get access to the Capitol steps. They were reported as saying on record, we're not sure about the optics of sending out a highly militarized looking police force for this event.
A lot of the streams caught like police chatter on like you can like when I was streaming the whole thing, some of the streams I had like they had cops in the background, you can just hear them talk, you know?
Yeah, so same on our stream.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like and they just openly talked about it and they're just like, yeah, whatever. Fuck it. And then the guy took a selfie on stream. Like, a selfie enough. Like, you're taking a selfie. Like, that's a picture. You're taking evidence alone. But you're going to do it on stream, so you get that like, the cringy pose up. And then, like, everything about it was just awful. It was awful. And again, these left-wing Twitter accounts that all of a sudden, somehow, they got... Like, remember that no comrade under 1K thing? That's an op.
Yeah.
That's an op, 100%. Where did these people go? Like, somehow
you're telling me... I don't think it was 100% an op, because, listen, people do this follow back... It's one of those things, well,
of course you want to help other people, so we're going to manipulate that.
People do this follow back shit all the time on Twitter, and, you know, occasionally it blows up for some reason. That doesn't naturally make the entire thing an op. But if something like that is trending, are people going to latch onto it that have bad motives?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And that's the problem with, again, the force the vote thing is like these are decent ideas, these are worthy of debate, and then you revoke all those debates and you say you cannot debate this, you have to do what Jimmy Dore says or else you're a corporate sellout. And it's like, and that's the thing, it's like this feels like a disinformation campaign that's targeting people like Jimmy Dore, people like Brianna Joy Gray, people like the Gray Zone. Those are my like prime suspects right now. And Convo
Gray
Couch
Zone is especially suspect.
Yeah, no,
we all know where his money comes from.
Yeah, that one is like, and then like, that's the thing is like, you look at them, and then it's like Jimmy Dore's going on their show all the time, and it's like, what's going on there? And then it's like, okay, that's interesting. And then they're going on, and then they retweet each other all the. It's literally the Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, fucking like, you know, like what I don't remember all like Charlie Kirk, like all those people. They go on each other's shows. And they say, look, this is my friend, and, you know, sure, he's a Nazi, but he's my friend, and he went on my show, and I'm going to tell you he's not a Nazi, but, you know, like, then you go to his channel, and he's going to tell you he's a Nazi, but he's just being a reasonable person, because I told you he's reasonable. That's what they're doing. That's literally what they're doing, but on the left. And again, like, you see these people like Convo Couch that are just openly saying, yeah, the election was stolen. Joe Biden's a fake president, and then somehow they're a leftist? Like, socialists are following them and repeating their talking points?
You want to say the primary was stolen? Sure, let's talk. But if you want to say the election was stolen, if anything, the Republicans always do more voter fraud, and we already have seen evidence that they did more voter fraud as usual. So, like, I don't like Joe Biden, but he won. Like,
and also, it's another thing of like Democrats rigging the Democrat primary. it's the Democrat primary. They've got ultimate control versus rigging the constitutional election process. Now, theoretically, yes, they can do both, right? But it's a big stretch.
The latter is much harder.
Yes, it's a big stretch. It's a like you need to like one is like maybe a tenth as difficult as the other, and these people are just like, and it's again the emotional reactionary thing. They just say the DNC stole the primary, and in a lot of ways, yes, and I'm down to have that conversation, and I'm totally willing to even say that they cheated the primary. I'm absolutely willing to say that. But then when the next thing out of your breath is, and then they stole the general too, I don't want to be associated with that. Like, I don't want that anywhere near me. Like, if I, like, was walking down the stairs and it, like, I stepped in it or something, I would want to wash my foot as soon as possible because it's garbage. It's trash.
Well, also, I need to see some fucking proof. Like, for the primary, first of all, the courts ruled point blank that the parties can rig their primaries. Like, they have actual legal permission to do so. They don't have that for the general election. No one has ever had a court ruling giving them blanket permission to rig the general election. Now, say what you will about Bush's first election, but even that is not the same as a blanket court ruling saying that you can rig an election just outright.
Yeah, no, blank. It's a big step to go from voter suppression and, like, Supreme Court cases to the Democrats rigged it. And again, these people are just, like, promoting the Trump stuff.
Voter suppression! Who does the most voter suppression?
Exactly, Republicans. Exactly. And that's another thing is these people, they call themselves leftists, but they never talk about Trump. In fact, they always say, if you talk about Trump, it's Trump derangement syndrome. The real problem are the Democrats. That's these people. They've got to be an op. An op are being used. And again, like you mentioned Ryan Knight, so I'm going to hop on this one. This guy was a Warren supporter, right? And then he flipped to Bernie, and now he's saying don't vote for Biden, and then also force the vote, and then also don't vote for Democrats. And then also, the guy is, like, already a previously established, like, he's already willing to say what he wants for money, previously established, right? So it's like, again, I don't trust him as a source of information. He can write some fire tweets, and that's cool, and that's, good when he writes the good tweets, right? But when he starts going out there and say you can't vote for Biden and you can't vote for AOC because she's selling you out, it's like, what? It's like, it's really weird. It's really weird. And again, people can change, people can evolve. That's great, and that's fine. And if Brianna Joy Gray or Ryan Knight or Jimmy Dore want to go on an apology tour, I don't expect it, but if they did, I would embrace that, right? But at the same time, like, you can't expect people to take you super seriously instantly just because you've got 100,000 Twitter followers from your corporate sellout gig that you already had. No. And, so I just think it's an inside job. I think a lot of this is more connected than we think personally. But,
And let's just be clear, okay? I'm curious. Probably a lot of people don't feel this way necessarily yet, and that's okay, I guess. But I don't believe that my ideal government or like society would be a better way to put it. My ideal society can come through our current system of government, like period. Even if we had the Congress is all progressives, Senate is all progressives, progressive president. We're still not going to get to my ideal society because I'm an anarchist, and that's just not possible.
And another thing is, like, I'm okay with that. Like, and I acknowledge that.
So with that in mind, how do I engage with electoralism? I could not engage at all, but I am poor, and I have lived around poor people all of my life, and I know that people like me suffer when people just choose to disengage from politics entirely, because it's lib shit. Okay, so my ideal government cannot come, or my ideal society cannot come through our current structures of government, but poor people like me will suffer if I don't do something occasionally, right? That's how I feel about it. I don't understand where these other people are coming from. It seems like half the time they think that their ideal society can come through the government, but somehow they think voting out their closest ideological allies will get them closer.
That's the thing. Oh, we're going to primary AOC. Then what? What? You're going to primary AOC? And then what? And then you're going to have one congressperson with even less power. Great. Good job. Okay. Like, if you want to primary Warren, I'll, like, I can it's a little vindictive. I think you could spend the money on better projects. But if you want to, just for what she did in the primary against Bernie, you know what? I'm honestly kind of on board with that. In Massachusetts, you could probably get a better senator out of. But if you're saying you want a primary AOC, which would probably translate into making a spoiler candidate so that a corporate-funded primary candidate would win that primary, so, like, you would just fuck things up like an idiot, right? Like, I'm just sorry. Anyone that says you want a primary AOC, I'm sorry. You're dumb. And does that mean I'm standing AOC? I'm an AOC superfan? No. It means if you want to spend money to make Congress a better place, there are better ways to spend money. If you want to primary AOC, you are an emotional, crybaby, train wreck of a reactionary goon. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's a waste of money. I hear all the time, we can't waste resources on blah, 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 but we can waste resources primarying AOC from the left. Let's be real. The average American is not to the left of those of us on Twitter. Even people like me that you might think I'm somewhat of a lib and disagree with, because you're a fucking idiot chud.
You're a shit lib. Why are you standing in the way of healthcare?
Right. Like, even if you think that about me, I'm to the left of the people offline. Okay? Like, no matter what you believe. Right? So, the people that are voting AOC into office, most of them are not to the left of me. They are to the right of me. Okay?
And also funding AOC, right, are mostly people to the right of you.
Yes.
They're mostly, like, and that's not to say they're right-wingers, but it's to say that they're just, like, working people who say, like, yeah, the world should be a better place, I'll chuck AOC a couple bucks. And they don't study this shit because they're not, like, they've got normal lives and they're socially well-adjusted, right? Like, that's the thing. And these weirdos on Twitter that think, like, okay, so you're an anarchist and you want to revolt against the government, and then what? Right? And there's never a conversation about after that. And it's the same strategy with the force the vote. Okay, you're going to force the vote, and then what? Well, then we're going to primary other people 2 years from now. Okay, well, that's 2 years from now. You're accusing me of standing in the way of healthcare. Jimmy Dore is going on there saying it will pass. It's a pandemic. Of course they'll pass it. Meanwhile, Mitch McConnell just shot down $2,000 checks a week ago, right? So what world are you living in where you think, oh, it's a pandemic, automatically that means Mitch McConnell's going to pass Medicare for all? And then even if he does, he's going to pass Medicare for all without amendments that are going to fuck it up? Like, again, like, these people don't think.
And then the main argument that I heard was like, of course it's not going to pass the Senate, but we'll know who our allies and enemies are. We already know who our allies and enemies are. We already know who to primary in 2022. If you don't know who to primary in 2022, it's because you don't listen to shows like mine. Just point blank. I'm just gonna plug myself for a second and just say that, because
just don't do it live on stream. It might get me banned.
Fucking, like, that. What do you mean? I don't get it. What do you mean that we don't know who our allies and enemies are? First of all, everyone in our fucking government is our enemies, if you want to look at it that way, because, like, we have to take power from these people, and we should put pressure on all of them. And I think it's fine to look at things that way, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that we get rid of our closest ideological allies. I just do not understand that. And if we want to primary AOC from the left, we have to shift the fucking Overton window first, okay? Like, I just want to be clear about what needs to happen. Would I love to see AOC lose to a leftist challenger? Sure, that'd be fun as hell. Like, it would be a great resounding defeat of all of, like, the liberal concessions that she's ever made if a leftist challenger stepped up and beat her. But is that going to happen? Not unless we change the discourse enough to allow it to happen. Because right now, the people that voted for AOC are not looking for someone to the left of AOC for the most part. Maybe a small percentage, like 10% of her voters are, but that's it. And
another thing is, like, you take that same lefter than AOC and primary a corporate Democrat. Like, again, even then, it's just a better calculation. You know, it's like you get rid of someone who's worse, and you get someone who's even more to the left. You know, like, look at Cori Bush, for example. I think she's further to the left by a significant margin than AOC, I would say. And she also didn't primary someone like AOC. She went against the corporate Democrat, you know? So it's like the idea that you're going to, like, again, it's just a pure resource thing. And again, we don't have that many. We are the ones without the resources. But I think the people that say this, one of the things that they say, oh, yeah, the money will come. The money will come. It's because they know that there's a faucet somewhere. They know that they've got control, or someone they know's got control of a faucet somewhere, and that if someone did something like this, they wouldn't have to worry. That's what I think, and it might not be like they're all in on, like, this hyperactive scheme, because most people, you want to limit the information that you give out to other people because you don't want them to turn on you. That's the whole idea. You manipulate them instead. So again, do I totally think it's possible that all of these people, all these like left-wing podcast hosts are just taking money via super chats and they think, oh, this is what the people want. And then they start doing this awful message. And then they convince their good faith, mostly poor audience, right, of people to not like electoralism, to just completely bow out of the process, right? And again, it's all about margins. Like, if you can cut off 5% of the Bernie coalition, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's, at the very least, hundreds of thousands of people, right? And if you can cut them off, then, and then make them hate politics from that point on, that's a huge win. That's a huge win.
Well, and it definitely means that we're not getting a progressive president in 2024 if you do that. Because, really, we should be looking at it as, we almost had a win. Let's go for the W in 2024. Let's get Washington climate Thanos or whatever.
There you go.
Somebody. Let's get fucking Sherrod Brown. He's not that great, but he'll do. Like, let's get somebody running in 2024 that can pick up the Bernie mantle, and we could fucking win it, especially if we
started now.
If we started now and we went out in 2024 with the explicit goal of observing and reporting on voter suppression, because some of that was done this cycle, and it's one of the only things that helped us get this close.
Absolutely. But have you thought about these people that just don't read the news and don't participate in the campaigns, and they just react to, like, tweet storms all day? Like, if you don't get your news and you don't work on the campaign and you know nothing about how these processes work, isn't it easier just to go on Twitter and say everyone's a corporate sellout? I think. Personally.
Yeah, it's super easy. If you never engage with politics, then it's really easy to remain pure. And most of these fucking purity people don't engage with politics directly at all.
They also, like, let's be real, they don't engage in they're not like, oh, I'm for mutual aid. That's great. Like, do you work for a food bank? Are you working in any mutual aid organizations? Because that's wonderful.
No, they'll say that that's lib charity shit.
Yeah, and again, they always have an excuse, is the point. And again, my excuse is there's a pandemic going on, right? That's my excuse, right? I don't want to leave the house right now, but, maybe I should, and could I, and, like, all that kind of stuff, right? I think about it, but my excuse is there's a pandemic going on. What's these people's excuse, right? Like, if they're to the left of me, they're more noble, they're more revolutionary than me, shouldn't they be the ones that, okay, it's a pandemic, I'll go out there and start a mutual aid organization in winter? I mean, if you want to, I'll support you. I'll have you on my show, and maybe you can get some funding, right? Like, but these people don't want to do the work because the work is hard.
Yes, Not Safe for Wonks raises money for mutual aid fundraising. Any chance that we can get a good project to raise money for, and like our biggest one last year is we raised $3,000 for rent relief in one day. If you've got a great mutual aid project that we can help out with, we will help you. Like, we love mutual aid, but you got to actually do it.
Yeah, you can't just post on Twitter.
Can't just post about it.
And I love posting. I'm a huge fan of posting. Like, you might know this more than anyone. I love a good post, right? Love it. But goddamn, if your entire ideology and personality is Twitter, that I think should be in the DSM. Like, seriously, like, that is not good. But
yeah. I was gonna say, the people who say that, like, mutual aid is too lib and that electoralism is too lib, y'all are also gonna have an excuse when the revolution comes.
Yeah.
I know what y'all are like. The revolution will be too fucking lib too.
Of course it will. Like, I disagreed with that guy on Twitter 7 years ago who's in the commanding position. We disagreed on on vegetarianism or something, and so now I hate them for the rest of my life. That's another thing. I'm a vegetarian, so I get involved in this discourse. But I noticed that a lot of these similar people that we're talking about are, like, really anti-vegan, and they somehow claim that, like, veganism is, like, a neoliberal, like, sellout, like, it's not going to change anything. And it's like, I don't know, that I find that a little weird. Personally, I don't know. Like, are you a meat eater? What is your opinion on that?
I do eat meat.
Filthy carny?
Yes, I'm a filthy carnivore. I have a complex opinion on meat ethics. I don't think that veganism is dumb, though. I think that there are some people that make it dumb, like any political ideology, but I can't blame a movement on those people, right? Because that's bad faith.
Exactly.
Sure. Can I find like some bizarro vegan leftists on Reddit who just post the craziest, cringiest shit imaginable?
I'm considering occupying
Sure.
that space just for the meme. Like, I'm really considering it because it's so funny. But yeah, that's the thing. Is like,
but yeah, it doesn't. I grew up rural and farming a lot, and I have a relationship to food that's based on those experiences.
Sounds like an excuse.
And
I think you're actually standing in the way of fixing climate change, and I think you're taking money from big meatpacking organizations. That's what I think, personally.
It's true. I'm in the pocket of the USDA, maybe.
Or something. I don't know.
I couldn't even. I was like, who would I be in the pocket? Tyson. There it is.
There you go.
Okay. I'm in the pocket of Tyson.
Fucking Asian car. I like, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. I always find these people like the through line here, and what I meant when I bring up the vegetarian is that it's just the reactionary tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing. It's like you can always find these people saying the dumbest, most unintelligent, non-thoughtful thing possible at every juncture. And I want to just shout myself out again because I'm awesome and I'm a great person and everyone should be in love with me at all times. But I streamed yesterday, the whole day. And there was a large portion of that stream where I was silent because I was observing and I was kind of like trying to put together what was happening, and I didn't want to say something stupid, right? Like I could have been like, oh, woo, like get up, like I could have been doing that, right? And I could have been saying dumb shit like, oh, these guys are legends when they fucking bring the Confederate flag into the Capitol. I could have been being an ironic shit poster, but me personally, I was observing. And I didn't say anything unless I really meant it. And that's what I think a lot of people should do. But they don't. And that's, I think also, even as a broader message and critique, this is the way social media manipulates us, is they manipulate us into wanting to get our every thought out there. Like, the more you think and the more you can get thoughts out, the more engagement you get. So if you don't think about something and you just think about it once and you post a tweet, and then maybe you have another tweet or thought and you post it again, you'll get more likes, you'll get more engagement, it makes the algorithm go boom. You don't get the engagement for writing a long, thoughtful thread of like 15 tweets. You get like 2 likes and then no one cares, right? No one reads it. But you do get that engagement when you say, yo, these guys are epic. You know, like, and that's another thing is like people don't realize that social media is manipulating you. They're addicting you to certain kind of behaviors. Like ask your grandpa, hey grandpa, would you ever say something like in front of thousands of people without ever thinking about it? And they'd be like, what? Like I'd be around thousands of people. 2, like I would have like they just wouldn't comprehend that situation. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize how social media is manipulating our behavior.
Yeah. Well, and this relates perfectly to all the shit that we've been talking about. There's definitely something that's getting mixed up and lost in translation for a lot of very online leftists between civility politics and basic human respect. Civility politics is a thing that we should all be against, but it is not something that applies to every human conversation. It is a political action. If you are just talking amongst friends privately about an issue, and they accuse you of civility politic, they're probably being a little over dramatic, in my opinion. Now, they might be not exactly wrong, but like there is this like idea that because civility politics are bad, we are allowed to just disrespect anyone anytime we disagree with them. And that is not...
If you think it's inappropriate to send AOC death threats, that's simping for politicians. Like when like Jimmy Dore saying, "I'm gonna come for you and I'm never gonna stop." That's unacceptable. As all of a sudden, oh, what are you, an AOC fan? Simping for politicians? What are you, against free speech? And it's like,
to be clear, AOC saying, "Oh, speech is violence," is also whack. Like it's both things can be bad.
I think that she has a point, and she did not articulate that point well.
She did not articulate it.
And then, of course, the Force the Vote, Jimmy Dore people are not receptive to that point to begin with. And so when you don't articulate that point in a really well-made way, and this goes into the thing where it's like, oh, well, let's not have Bernie because then they're going to call us a socialist. Well, they're going to call you a socialist regardless, right? So AOC, like, they were going to attack her regardless, right? So it might have been better just to not bring it up. It might have been better just to like bring it up in a more articulate fashion. Who knows? But these people would have come after her regardless. So at the same time, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it does. I will say, because I gave a very nuanced take about language and organizing and how to use language. And I was attacked just incessantly with just insane things leveled at me.
You're
for saying literally,
right?
This is what I said. This is what I said. I said Jimmy Dore is allowed to be as mad as he wants and say whatever he wants on his show, but you shouldn't bring that kind of attitude to organizing, or people are gonna fucking leave.
Yeah, exactly.
And people were like, "Oh, you're civility politics, blah blah," and like, have you ever been on a union line? That's not how you talk. And it's like, yeah, when you're on the picket line, you swear at the scabs and shit. I get that. I'm talking about meetings. I said that.
And
like,
that
I'm talking about doing the actual organizing work.
They've got this grandiose, like, main character syndrome bullshit where, again, like, Jimmy Dore's calling this thing a town hall to pump his ego up. It was a podcast. Oh, but if I call it a town hall, then it's serious. And if it's serious, then it's an organizing thing. And we're building a party and it's super serious. It's not. It's a podcast. You are doing nothing different than you would be doing every other day. And so you, like, and it, again, am I gonna, like, when I go to a fucking, when I was hosting Bernie events, I was hosting Bernie events in my town during the campaign primary. And so I would get a lot of people that would come to my house and we'd watch debates. Every time there'd be a debate, I'd host a debate watch party at my house. And so am I gonna, like, have my Antifa flag on the front door? Am I gonna have, like, the fucking, like, you know, all of the fucking, like, hard, like, am I gonna have a Molotov, like, on the fucking, like, counter? Am I gonna have AK-47s on the wall? Will I, like, invite, like, liberal, like, old people into my home? No, I'm not. Am I going to say we need to murder, like, Donald Trump? No, I'm not. I'm going to say, wow, let's have fun watching this debate. How are you guys doing today? That's what I'm going to do, because I'm a normal person and I know how to speak to people.
You're gonna look for maybe reasonable opportunities to agitate as opposed to unreasonable ones?
Yeah, like someone saying, oh, Amy Klobuchar, I like her, and then, like, I point out something she says dumb later on in the debate, and then that gets them thinking, like, that's how you have to deal with real people in real spaces. But these people are not real people in real spaces, and this is why I think a lot of them are operatives. I think a lot of them are being paid, and most of the ones at the top are podcasters, so, like, this is what they do anyway, and they're not interested in organizing, they're not interested in union building or movements or whatever, because they're podcasters. That's not their thing, right? But they're going to pretend to be because it's good for their podcast.
I just want to say, I've done a lot of organizing in my life. I started organizing at a young age. I started protesting the Iraq War at the age of 12 because it was bad. It was really a bad thing. And, you know, I was not ultra woke at that age, believe me. But I was still, like, politically interested and informed enough even at that point to be like, damn, this war thing is really fucked up. And I was a part of a group of youths that did protesting as, like, middle school and high school students against the war. And so I've been doing organizing since a very young age. I don't do quite as much anymore because of my chronic health issues, but I am still doing some. And let me tell you something that I can tell you about organizing is that if you're having an organizing meeting that looks like the Zoom meetings that were happening with the Force the Vote people, where Jimmy Dore is just screaming, "You're a traitor! You're a fucking traitor!" at people.
Those motherfuckers will come on my show! I get 10 to 12 million views a month! And they won't address my progressive audience? Have you ever seen his show, Chad? It's all Trump supporters. My progressive audience! My audience is so progressive! Like, these people are crybabies, dude. I hate them. I hate them so much.
If working class people walk into your organizing meeting and there are leftists screaming, "You're a traitor! You're a fucking..." like that kind of shit at each other, they walk out. They don't sign up for anything. Yep. They don't come back.
And then also, they will tell everyone about that time they went to that union meeting and how unhinged it was. And then, so their family and their wife and then their kids are going to know. And then if they see your flyer 2 years down the line, the only thing they're going to know about your little org is how unhinged it was when Daddy went, like, 2 years ago. Right? And that's the thing that Jimmy Dore and all these freak shows don't understand, is that town hall is political suicide. It's done. Right? Like, if they ever try to organize with the People's Party apparatus that's in the Oppo, it's going to be there forever. They will not get off the ground, right? So it's a dead-in-the-water project as it is. So it's not going to progress. They've already shot it in the foot as it is. But they're going to continue on that brand because they think that, oh, they're fighting the good fight. we don't have to. Another thing these motherfuckers do is they love to quote Martin Luther King and compare Jimmy Dore to Malcolm X. Have you?
Yes. Oh my God, I had so many of those people. I didn't know that was such a big thing, but I had those people in my mentions. And then the funniest one, this guy compares Jimmy Dore to Malcolm X and like calls me the white moderate, basically, right? And then I was like, Jimmy Dore is literally the white moderate, as my response, because he actually is a white moderate. Fucking someone else came in and was like just baffled that this person would compare Jimmy Dore to Malcolm X. And then the person turns around. This is the level of dishonesty that these people have. It's like, I didn't do that. I didn't compare Jimmy Dore to Malcolm X. Like, literally, you just did that. But he was like, no, that's not really what I was saying. Like, these people will never admit for 1 second that they're wrong about anything, much like Jimmy Dore. That's his personality. He does not admit that he was wrong about anything. He has not admitted that he was fucking wrong to support Tulsi Gabbard in the presidential primary. He has not admitted that.
For bringing it up. He'd say, oh, they keep bringing up that I support Tulsi. I mean, yeah, I thought she was the best candidate and everything, and I'm going to defend everything I said. But, like, also, why do they keep bringing it up? It's like, what? Like, again, the most important moment in American history, at least in our lifetimes, to get Medicare for all, was in February. Where were you? Making pro-Tulsi, anti-Bernie videos.
Also, why are you still defending Tulsi when she's a transphobe?
Well,
because you're a transphobe.
He doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit.
He is a transphobe.
Like,
you've heard his
literally,
old comedy, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's on the... I mean, yeah. I've seen many things.
And by old, I mean from like 12 years ago, not like ancient.
Yeah, and it's another thing. It's like, if it's one thing, yeah, sure, you made dumb jokes. All right, great. Now, stop doing that. Right? It's the pattern that's the problem. Evolution, great. If Jimmy Dore were to come out and say, that was really wrong of me, and I just thought it was funny at the time because of the culture I was raised in, whatever, I'd accept it. But he still does that shit. Like, he's carrying water for Tulsi's bill whenever it's mentioned in passing, saying, oh, well, she just has concerns for women. It's like, what? And then, like, he's not making any videos about it. Like, it's just like he's running away from the subject. And it's bizarre. It's bizarre. And these people are freak shows. And I think it's important to introduce people that would otherwise maybe be falling into their traps to other people that aren't bad faith actors, like the Not Same for Wonks crew. There you go. That's your opening.
Hey. Yeah. It's just, like, if you cared so much about Medicare for all, Jimmy, then why did you trash so many progressives running for Congress? Why did you not support Bernie Sanders? Why did you support Tulsi Gabbard, who's an obvious fucking piece of shit? And by the way, I don't believe in Russiagate conspiracies at all, except for Tulsi Gabbard. Any crazy theory you have about Tulsi Gabbard's allegiances, I will give time to.
Me too. Just for the record, yeah?
Because at this point, she is some kind of fucking, I don't even know what, and like,
I honestly think that she's an alien. Like, she's not even a human, as far as I'm concerned. I think that the UFOs are real, and I think that they are Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah. I also, if anyone has ever been a Russian op, or actually, let me put it this even crazier way. If Hillary Clinton has ever been right about anything, ever, in her entire career, it's that Tulsi Gabbard is an op.
Honestly, backing that up. I'm backing that up. Yeah, let's wrap up here. What would you like to tell the audience, my 10 to 12 million progressive views? What would you like to tell them? Like, who are you? Where can they find you? What do you do? Why are you even alive? Etc.
Etc. Well, thank you for having me on your show again so much. I'm Kennedy Cooper. You can find me at kennedytcooper on Twitter if you like my takes personally. If you're not so sure about my takes, but you're maybe willing to give me half a chance, you can check out my main political show. It's at NSFWonks on Twitter, youtube.com/notsafemedia. And yeah, we do streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's good stuff. It's later in the afternoon, too. So if you watch Andrea's show in the morning, you can watch us in the afternoon and just have a full day of good stuff.
Exactly. It's a very possible thing to do. This is why I do my show in the morning, because no one I talk to does a show in the morning. So it's like
a great idea.
And then I get to do it, and then when everyone else does their show, whenever I interact with them, I get to do the thing where I say, oh yeah, I talked about this on my show this morning. Right? I love doing it. That's one of my favorite things. I just, like, real quick, I love going into other people's chats and then like blogging about my own show. It's just great. Like everyone else does it. I get people coming into my thing and say like, yeah, I made a YouTube video about this. It's like, all right, cool, all right. So that's the thing. I get to get all my news out first. So
we always go to No Miki's comments and are like, after the No Miki show, watch Not Safe for Walks.
Oh my god. There you go. I mean, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. At any point, Sam Cedar is going to come into my show. It's like, all right, above it all, viewers, welcome. It's the time is here. But yeah, no, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
I would like to go on your show at some point again soon. We were going to do that, but then yesterday happened.
Maybe next week.
We can do it whenever.
A little less nuts,
yeah, whenever there's not like a coup attempt, I'm open.
Yeah.
And you're free to come on me as well. I don't take that out of context, of course. No, you're free to come on my show.
Just that.
You're free to come on my show whenever if you want to have a hot take.
I'd love to come back.
All right.
I'd love to come back soon.
All right. I'm so bad at endings, so I'm gonna have to ask you to just leave. I know this is awkward. I know you don't want to be here. I don't want to be here.
You just gotta go.
This is just this is really bad. I hate this. This is like, I'm freaking out. I'm having an anxiety attack. No, I'm good. All right. But yeah, thank you for coming on, and I will see you at another point in time. That's it. That's all I got. This is okay. Oh shit. Oh fuck.